Favoritism says one rule for my friends, another rule for strangers. One rule for the talented, another rule for the average. One rule for the popular, another rule for the average. How many times through school did popular people get away with things? We see it in movies all the time, especially those coming of age movies where the popular person, popular student kind of gets away with some things. One rule for the powerful, another rule for the powerless. Another thing we see in society today, the powerful, Congress, people that have authority, supposedly, maybe even police officers and others, they have one rule and another rule for the commoners. And then how about one rule for my side and another for your side? See, that is not fairness. That would be corruption wearing a smile. And that smile might look like the Joker in Batman. So if the standard changes depending on who did it, it was never really a standard. It was a preference. Did you get that? If a standard changes depending on who did it, it was never really a standard. It was a preference. Do you have standards or do you have preferences? So what does fairness look like in everyday life? It's not just a courtroom idea. It shows up every day in our lives. It shows up in the tone we use. It shows up in how quickly we judge people. It shows up whether we listen or not. It shows up on how we treat people who cannot benefit us. It shows up in who we excuse and who we condemn. How about in conversation? Do we twist people's words? Do we interrupt just to win an argument? So if you want to be fair in these conversations, don't interrupt just to win. Don't twist people's words. Don't assume motives. Don't take one sentence and build an entire accusation around it. Don't listen only long enough to prepare for your comeback. Listen. A fair conversation sounds like, help me understand what you meant. Let me make sure I heard you correctly. I may disagree, but I want to be fair to your point. I reacted too quickly. I did not have the full story, which is common today. An unfair conversation sounds like you always do this. You never care. I know exactly why you did that. I do not need to hear your side. This is not what happened, but I'm going to keep saying it anyways. We get a lot of that in society today, too. This isn't what happened, but we're going to keep repeating the story over and over. The news, the mainstream media is notorious for that. Fairness in conversation means I'm more committed to the truth than victory. Are you committed more to truth than victory? Most people today are committed to victory over truth. What about fairness in family? Family is one of the first places we learn about fairness and unfairness, isn't it? A child learns fairness when parents keep their word. They learn fairness when discipline is consistent. A child learns fairness when they're heard before being judged. They learn fairness when one sibling is not always blamed and the other is not always excused.